Hello, hello, and welcome to the Believe in USC podcast. I am Kristen Lago, joined by Lendale White. And honestly, there's no complaints for me on this morning today. Like, I've been in a good mood pretty much all season. I don't know about you.
Oh yeah, no, I'm wonderful. I got the that glow going, that Southern California glow. These boys have they made us proud. As a former alumni, I can really say that this season has been a dream. To beat Notre Dame, to beat UCLA back to back weeks in the fashion we have. You couldn't ask for a better season. Obviously, the job is not done by no means, but just being honest with ourselves and knowing where we came from last year to where we're at right now, we have to tip our hats to those boys, man. And they have played their asses off this year, and what a great job you've done, Lincoln. I mean, for what you've inherited. I know you have a lot of transfers, and I get it, but to
Yeah.
put this team together the way you have and the way to fight every week. You've done an unbelievable job. So I salute you for sure, man. Good job.
Now, let's start with talking about the game that got USC sort of into this position. 11-1, they finished the regular season. They beat Notre Dame at home, 38-27. Before we get into the atmosphere, because I do want to talk about that, because it felt the closest to like the Pete Carroll days of the Coliseum that I think USC has felt a long time. But let's talk about the game first. And I think let's start with the man, the myth, the legend, the guy you believed in from day one, quarterback Caleb
Yeah.
Williams.
Yeah, he's just shown us exactly what kind of guy he is. I can remember early on, like you said, when we first started this, I said, I remember when I first met him, he said his goal was to, I mean, he had a whole bunch of goals, but I remember one of the main goals on there was to win back to back Heisman's. And I asked him, like, how do you how do you can you really fathom that? And but just after talking to him and you just understanding who he is, I could see that vision for him. And then also seeing him play off of that Texas Oklahoma game alone for myself, after seeing him play in that game and the way he came in unfazed and brought those people back and took over that team, for me, just him being another year deeper in Lincoln Riley's system and getting to know him, and just that to me was just clear evidence for me to say he was going to be a Heisman front runner. And then I also know, like, when you win at USC, you get those awards. But see, people didn't understand when I said at the beginning of the year, when you get on a roll in those teams, when you start winning games and you believe, and then now look where we're at. We're 11-1 with an opportunity to, to become Pac-12 champions. And I mean, God willing, if anything, if everything aligns right, we can, end up being in the top four. Where I said, from the beginning that it was all possible. you know, when you come to SC, you want to win a Pac-12 championship, and you also want to play in the Rose Bowl. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll take any,
Yeah.
bigger bowl or any college football playoff in front of that. So they have done an unbelievable job of turning this thing around. But I've seen it from the beginning. I knew Caleb was going to be special. I'm glad that he's playing for us Trojans, but he's one of those kids. He's like, it doesn't come around this often where we get to see this
Yeah,
kind
it
of
seems
greatness,
like
because
it.
I mean, I've played with some really good greats,
Yeah.
Matt Leinart, and number five, the GOAT, President Bush. And I'm sure when they talk about this kid, or when they talk about like the plays he's able to make and what he's able to do, I know they even, like, they light up talking about it. And those are two former Heisman Trophy winners. And hopefully they can welcome him to the club here shortly. I think he's done everything in his possibility. I mean, everything that you imagine to do, especially in that type of game, to seal the deal the way he did. And running for 80 yards on one of those plays. And,
That play was absurd. I
yeah,
rewatched it probably like 5 times and I still don't like my brain can't comprehend it.
yeah. Sometimes you're sitting there like, throw it away. What? Nah,
Yeah.
you're like, there's so many emotions as a fan running through you. But then, you're like, listen, this kid's out there and he's in this mode and he's in this game for a reason. So I let it go. As much as I'd be like, hey, let it, like, throw the ball away, do, like, he's like, hey, he's found whatever it is in him that he, to make him go. So man, it's just amazing to sit back and watch. But I think that run where he went to 80 yards, and and then sealing that deal, like,
That's when I was like, okay, Heisman. Yeah.
I
Like if
mean,
you were doubting before you watch that
right.
play, how do you not think Heisman?
I mean, when you think about the back-to-back games he's coming off of, 500 the week before, and then you coming into a rivalry game where everybody knows it's not that simple to
Yeah.
come out with a victory. Um, And we've seen Oregon go down in Corvallis. Like
Mhm.
you see it. You're supposed to win, but sometimes again in these rivalry games,
Things
anything
happen.
can go. So it was just, I mean, for him to just go out there and know what was on the line, because
Yeah.
we knew that the Heisman was on the line. We knew that the playoffs hopes was on the line, and for him to show up and show out again and on that level, I mean, come on, guys. What are we talking about? I think he deserved the Heisman. He definitely showed that he's, more than capable of showing out in the big time games when you need him to. So I don't see what we're waiting for. I think he'll be crowned Heisman sooner than later.
I know. I'm hoping. We'll see. But a little West Coast bias always
Yeah,
hurts USC a little
but
bit. So
I mean, I've seen Dugan or Duggan. I don't, forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. I've seen him playing TCU. I've seen CJ Stroud play. He's a dope player. I've seen these guys play. I'm not taking anything away from them, but
yeah.
what I'm saying is, if we're talking about a top 10 team in the nation for the last 2-3 weeks, what we have been seeing on film and what the numbers have been saying,
Yeah.
like the
How do you
bias is
not?
not.
Yeah.
Yes, the bias isn't there. Like it's like when Hooker for Tennessee was balling out for back-to-back weeks and he beat Bama, and he was. Yes, I can see why you hyping him up, because the numbers were there to back it. When you talk about numbers and to seal a deal, or what's your Heisman moment last week for that 80-yard run, and to seal a deal against the 15th ranked, Notre Dame that hadn't lost for 8 weeks straight, I guess. Let's be honest, that's a Heisman, campaign moment. So I was proud of him, and it didn't phase him. He's over there having fun on the
Yeah.
sideline, striking the
Getting the
pose and stuff.
Heisman.
That's what you're supposed to do in the moment. Like live it up, like rail in it, because this stuff doesn't happen every day. So you got to enjoy it.
You know what? You used the phrase, showed up and showed out. I was obviously impressed with the offense. I have been impressed with Caleb all season long, Mr. Consistent. I was impressed with USC's defense and the way they
Yeah.
came to play against Notre Dame. What did you think about the unit?
I've seen I mean, considering the quarterback only didn't complete a pass until I think like the third or fourth quarter. But listen, I can't complain when
Yeah.
when you get turnovers or when you get the stops when necessary or needed. I have nothing to say. Again, you would like to see, a little bit more pass breakups, some pass deflection, something like that. When a guy's in the zone like that, going 11 for 11 or 12 for 12, he's seeing the field a little different.
Yeah.
So, but my hats off to those guys for just saying with it. You guys, we can say what we want, about Grinch or whatever we want about his defense, but again, he's 11-1, and these last couple games when they needed to make a play, they
We
found a
did.
way to do
Yeah.
it. So, that's what it's about. Sometimes it's not going to be always fun in the blowouts and everybody's getting 49-0. Sometimes you're going to have to fight those ugly wins and get those ugly wins, but that's what creates character. That's what gets the team to understanding that they can fight and they can win these ugly games. Sometimes they're not, and this is exactly what we need going into this Friday game. We lost by two, about on a 2-point conversion last time. It was a close game. Of course, we had some athletes that went down in that second half. No excuse, but I think those games after we lost to Utah now, and getting in some of these games where you had to fight and claw, so to speak, that gives us character for now when we go into this championship game, to give us championship pedigree, to understand that, listen, these are going to be certain things we have to do to win. You know what I mean? So, and then, seeing my dog Eric back out there,
I know. I was
I
happy.
can't, yeah, to me, it's every time you look up, you see him in there making some type of player. He's around the ball. So,
Mhm.
and this is his first game back in, I think like 5-6 weeks. So it's exciting to just see these guys and, everybody getting healthy. I'm not sure where Jordan is. I think I seen him back out there. Hopefully, he's pretty healthy for this game, but it's just a great time to see it. Austin Jones,
I
I
was
see
about to
you,
ask you what
boy.
you thought
Yes,
about
sir.
Austin. Yeah.
Austin, I have been saying this for weeks. It's like I just seen the talent on this team. I don't have to be in that office every day or on
Oh,
those. Like I've seen those kids play on the Pac-12 level for years. I've seen Austin Jones run stuff over in Stanford. So I'm thinking on a better USC team with better athletes, all you do is raise your play rather. So it's natural to see, Austin having a great second half to this season, after T. went down. But again, the job's not finished. I can't wait to see him in this championship week. This is what stuff is built on. This is what we go to SC for.
yeah.
This is a championship game, and it's like nobody's really giving us a shot in hell. They want us to lose so they can try to, fit Ohio State or somebody else in there over us. But you know, if you're a Trojan, this is what you dreamed of, especially coming from last year. You were 4-7. You're 11-1 now with a chance to go to the CFP. Like, what motivation do you need other than that? Like, when you look at what you came from to where you're at now, that's all the motivation you need, especially me. I know, like, I'm over here, I'm so
I
hyped
think I
right,
have chills.
right, because I'm excited to play right now. But if you're a fan and you just seeing, like, just knowing the opportunity that lies ahead, I don't see how, like, I don't see how those guys don't, they're not ready, or they're not their own motivators at this point. They, again, Caleb knows what's at stake. Some of these guys, what's at stake. And if you're a teammate and you know that we can get this guy and we can seal this and we can have this moment for us as well, like, it lives with you forever. I played with 2 out of 3 Heisman Trophy winners in 3 years. So it's like, I'll
Crazy.
never forget it. We had 3 in 4 years. So it's like, that stuff sticks with you forever. This is what, like, legacies, and this starts off a new era of Lincoln Riley football. We've been talking about Pete and the parallels, but this is now where you can draw your own parallel to yourself, where you make your own forever. So I'm excited to see it, man. I'm babbling and excited, but this is
No,
just an exciting time just to be a Trojan, right?
I
Yeah.
agree. I think people are finally buying into, which is nice because I think I don't know because I've never obviously played football, but I can assume that, as a player, you want to see the crowd in the game. You don't want to see them leaving early. And I think for the first time all year, this was a
Yeah.
game that was packed to the very end and it was
Yeah.
loud till the very end. And I haven't seen the Coliseum like that in a long, long time. So
And it's nice you say that, because when I think about, like, who was there and who was all, like, I'm like, it's, yeah, you're right. When you look on the sideline, you're looking at Will I Am, Roddy Rich, just
it
I seen
feels like a
Frosty on
USC game again.
it's
Yeah.
that's USC. Of course, we're in Hollywood. Who doesn't want to come
The
check out
Snoop
some stuff?
video with Caleb, I was like, yes, we're going back
You,
to the
you
like.
know,
I love
it's
this
this is
flag.
this is USC
Yeah.
football. This is why you become a Trojan. I know everybody around the world is like, yeah, no, but when you see this and you can see, like, what you can get out of balling at USC, that's exactly why you become a Trojan. And I guarantee you, Caleb, Jordan, Mario,
Yeah.
uh, the guy from Gentry, and the other linebacker from, I think, Bama,
McCutcheon.
53.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, Shane Lee from
Oh,
Alabama.
Shane. Oh, yeah, Shane Lee, beast. Like, I know, and I know. Listen, Shane, I know I know you've been winning, but when you're winning out on the West Coast, it's a
Different.
whole different feeling, man. So, yes, it's an exciting time, man. But just, the job's not finished. We got to go out here and whoop some ass this weekend. We owe Utah. We owe Utah payback. It has to happen.
And let's talk about that Utah game. I was listening to Lincoln Riley's like press availability, and I think the media, obviously, the fans touting this as a revenge game.
Yeah.
But I think Lincoln was just talking about how, both teams are very different than the first time they met. I guess,
Yeah.
how have you seen USC come along since that loss? And like, what do you think is going to be the key to, avenging it a little bit on Friday night?
Well, obviously, we know that tight end had a monster day on us. But, like he said, when you say the teams are different, we've lost since that point. I mean, that was our first loss, and I don't think Utah has lost since then. So, those are teams that both believe in themselves a different way. They have a different confidence. Like I said, when you lose like the way you did versus Utah, but then you bounce back and have these games where you have a close games, but you find a way to get it out, or you find a way to win,
Mm-hmm.
then that builds a lot of character within. So I think that, personally, I just think that these USC kids know what's on the line.
Mm-hmm.
And like Lincoln said, we're different from the first time because now we believe in what Lincoln's saying.
Yeah.
Like, now you have belief. Like, he showed you for 12 games, you're 11-1. If you basically listen and do what we tell you to do, we'll have an opportunity to win these football games. And every game that we've been in, we've had an opportunity. We could be 12-0 right now, which is crazy. But that's just crazy. We're 1 point away, 2 points away from being 12-0. So I know that there's just, it's a different belief within that group of kids, and even in that coaching staff. They know that they can get the job done. So, with all these players getting healthy, and this is just another clash. It's not gonna probably be no rollover game. These
Yeah.
guys know that they beaten us. And they've been beating us for the last couple of years, so they have the upper hand. That's the best part about this. We really have nothing to lose. Like if we go out there, we're really paying upsets because they are the former Pac-12 champions. They've beaten us the last time out. So when we go out there, and if we win, we beat them, we'll have the upper hand. So, listen, again, if there shouldn't be no more motivation. If the kids are searching, or if they're searching for any kind of motivation out there, all they got to do is look right and left and be like, man, man, we were 4-7. We have a chance to play for not only a Pac-12 but maybe a Natty. There's no more motivation than that. Like, what are we talking about?
I'm curious just your perspective on that. I hear a lot as a reporter, like players will be like, "Oh, we're playing with like a chip on our shoulder," even if they've been winning, but like because people don't think
Yeah.
that they're going to win this game, or like they're already just impressed that they've gotten this far. Like how
Right.
much does like having that chip on your shoulder actually like help self-motivate or like help the team?
I think it's big. It plays a major part. And even when you are winning, like you said, and people were like, oh, well, they're winning, but maybe their schedule isn't that good, or
Yeah.
it's because of this. It's like, yeah, like we can go shut up and prove everybody wrong. Like you can like there's always going to be haters, but you could take that. Like that's why you walk around with that chip. You want it. You want people to keep doubting you. You want these people to keep saying you can't do it, because that's the best thing is when you show up, you get to go out there and play this game. And then when you prove them wrong, what can they say now? It's like, what can you say now? If we go out there, well, I mean, just thinking about us and when we won so many games,
Yeah.
our chip on the shoulder was like even though we're the best, we still want to like we still want to be great. Like we want, like this isn't enough for us.
Yeah.
Like we don't need all the outsiders and like everybody. It doesn't really matter. Like our own chip lies within here because we still aren't. We don't believe we have reached the epitome of greatness yet. So it's like, what are we going to do within each other? Like we should have our own chip on our shoulder. We haven't really done anything. Yes, we're 11-1. That looks cute, but we haven't done anything. At the end of the day, if we don't win this game, we're not champions. We'll be 11-2, not champions. Ain't no telling where we end up, and you go win another bowl game. But that's what I'm saying. Like, then where's your legacy?
Yeah.
So now you can shut everybody up, and prove to everybody that this is where you guys belong, and this is exciting. If you're not, again, motivated by what you can do by your own success, this isn't the place for you, or this isn't the university for sure. Again, we got a high. This guy, he's about to win a Heisman Trophy. It's been years since then, but it's like
It's
once
just
that
like
happens,
mind blowing to me. Every time I think about it, I just think like, God, USC was 4-8 last year. Like
I keep saying 4-7 for 4-8. That's even horrible. I can't believe how horrible we were.
4-8. And now they're in the top four in the country.
It's amazing what a great athletic director can do with a great game plan. He goes and get a great coach. When a great coach has a great game plan and he sets it forth and the kids listen and they are willing to, you know, so to speak, die for it and understand that this is what we're in it for, that it changes the world. I told you about the snowball when it goes rolling down the hill, like sometimes it's hard because it just grows, and that's what happens. They believe, and that belief just gets bigger and bigger, and once it's going to be hard to deal with sooner or later. So that's why I'm just, it's early. I know we're excited, and yes, it seems like, that's why I don't want to get it too ahead of ourselves. That's why I
This is
want them
year
kids,
one.
right? And that's why I also want them to understand that. But this is just because it's year one doesn't mean
They're
that
setting the foundation.
right, set it. And now like we can run with it because nobody expected us to be there. We did though. That's the thing. The best part about us Trojans, we always knew. Like that's the best part about it. So yeah, everybody else doesn't matter. It's when you believe in yourself and you play Trojan ball, this is exactly what you get out of it. So yes, let's go win this Pac-12 championship and prove everybody wrong.
Before I let you go, always got to ask. I know I don't think it's going to be a rollover game either. Meanwhile, my mom was telling me she thinks USC is going to win by 3 touchdowns. Very
Yeah.
ambitious. What do you think the score prediction is going to be?
I feel that we do win. I think by a couple touchdowns.
Yeah.
I just feel like USC's on this train right now where they understand exactly what they have in front of them. And like I can't put pressure on. I'm not in there. Like there's no pressure if you and what's pressure? Diamond, you make diamonds out of pressure. So let's go. So I mean, I think we went by a couple touchdowns, and this is just the game where, again, another game where Caleb just shows the world, like,
He
yeah,
is the Heisman.
yeah, just go ahead and give me my Heisman. He seals the deal completely. I think Lincoln Riley also knows that. So I also see Austin Jones has another huge day just because I think they will sell out in this pass game so much. So um, yeah, I expect the Trojans to win, and probably be like around a 42-35 or 28 game, something like that. But it'll be a nice back and forth game, but we'll pull it out in the end, and yes, we'll win our first Pac-12 championship in what, like 3-4 years or something like that.
Yeah, I think since I was in college, yeah.
Which sounds amazing, man. So yeah, let's go, fellas. Fight on.
Just quickly, you think USC wins Friday? There's any way the committee doesn't put them in the top four?
Well, just thinking that, I mean, because if you look at our schedule right now and you think about where the Pac-12 is, I don't care. You can say SEC, do all that if you want. But when
Yeah,
you look at where the Pac-12 is right now and how many ranked teams are in there and how many we've beaten, then I don't see how you don't. Like, I know there's some other teams out there, yeah, you can consider, but when you consider what USC has done and where they come from, I don't see how the committee leaves those guys off of there at all. Especially if we win big here. I
yeah,
think Utah is what, top 12 or something like that, top
sure,
10
yeah,
maybe.
definitely
So
top
like,
15. Yeah,
yeah, so if you
yeah,
that'd be our third top 15 victory in 3 weeks. So I don't see how you don't. That's more than proven to me. And then you have a guy that's showing out on the offensive
as a
side of the
high,
ball
yeah.
with a Heisman. Yes, I think that yes, if with a big victory this weekend, yes, I think we might be going to the playoff.
All right, your words to God's ears, my friend.
Yes, it'll be fun. Either way, though, guys, man, my hat's off to you guys. You guys have fight y'all's asses off this year and definitely giving us something to cheer about and be excited and happy about. Because yes, it was looking, we had frowns every week, but again, you give us something to be excited about. So we want to let you guys know first and foremost that thank you. Yeah, you guys have done that, man. So, but the job's not done. Let's go.
They've made it a lot easier to say I'm a USC alum. I'll tell you that.
I'm telling you, for
Now I'm again.
sure.
I'm like, yeah, I went to USC.
Yeah, for real. You can say it. Even your friends are like, man, oh, so your team, you get
Yeah,
all these texts. Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. So, yes, fight on, fellas.
exactly. All right, everyone. This is the Believe in USC podcast presented by Bet Online. USC kicking off in the Pac-12 Championship game, number 4 in the country, taking on Utah on Friday night. We'll be back next week to break it all down. And as always, fight on, my friend.